Hi everyone, welcome to Jenny Pie Actual Speaking. 안녕하세요. 저는 Jennifer Clyde입니다. It's great to have you joining me right here on our show. Now, to give you a little bit of an introduction to our program, we will be beginning with lesson 1 and take you throughout all lessons 52. Now, I do have a question for you though. I'm sure that you want to improve your English speaking skills, right? But the problem is, a lot of people take classes, take courses, study in groups to, of course, practice English, but that's not enough. Well, there is no simple or easy answer to improve your speaking skills, but I would say practice makes perfect, whether you believe it or not. Now, you may think that you can write well and also read well, but you still have problems listening and speaking in English. Now, I will help you out. And hopefully, with this program, later on, you'll be able to speak very skillfully, smoothly, and confidently in a conversation or perhaps in an interview you might take in English. So best of luck to all of you as we begin lesson 1. Today, we'll start talking about yourself. So the topic is self-introduction. Let's begin with warm-up. All right, everyone, here we are with warm up. Are you ready to warm up? Now, what is today's topic? Today, we'll be talking about ourselves. We're going to give a self-introduction in a dialogue and also in an interview form. But first of all, when you are talking to someone in a conversation or when you are doing an interview and you're given a topic, what do you have to do? You have to think very, very quickly about what you will be talking about in that interview or perhaps that conversation. Now, in warm-up, we'll be doing that. So practice thinking about words or key cues that you can remember in your mind to help you smoothly converse in English. Are you ready? Then, what kinds of things can we talk about when we give a self-introduction? Now, these are brainstorming cues. Think of cues as a cue as we film a movie. Now, cue means go, right? We're ready to shoot. It means you are ready to remember these words in your mind, okay? Very, very quickly. So think of them as hints or suggestions. You don't have to use these words in the conversation or the interview. So, once again, when you are talking about yourself, you can begin very, very comfortably and naturally by telling the person your name. And then perhaps you can talk about your age as well. What else can we talk about when we are giving a self-introduction? You can talk about your place of birth, meaning where you were born. You can mention the country, the city, the town, the village, anything you want to. Also, education. You can talk about where you went to school. You can mention something about the middle school you went to, or elementary school, university, college. So talk about education and then give some details. Details are always important, always very important, especially in an English interview. So you can talk about your field of study, meaning what did you study, what your major was, what your minor was. Did you do a double major? Talk about that. And also talk about your job, your occupation, what you do for a living. Perhaps if you're looking for a job and you don't have a job at that moment, you could say, I'm in between jobs as well. Okay, let's move on and take a look at some more cues. Now, as we do this, think of your own cues as well, okay? You can talk about family, right? Well, family, what can you think of? Do you have brothers, sisters? Talk about them. Are you married? You can perhaps talk about your marital status. If you're single, you can say, I'm single, I'm not married. If you are married, you can talk about your children. Do you have one child? Do you have lots of children? Or don't you have children at all? All right? And then moving on, we've got personality and hobbies. Personality is very important when you are giving a self-introduction, especially in an interview. You want to tell the interviewer all about yourself. So talk about the kind of person you are by telling them about your personality. We'll be taking a look at some adjectives you can use later on in the program. And also, here we are, we've got hobbies for you. What do you enjoy doing? Do you make free time or time to do blah, blah, blah? Talk about the hobbies you enjoy in your free time Now, sleeping is not a hobby, everyone, so keep that in mind. So far we have taken a look at these brainstorming cues for today, as our topic is self-introduction, talking about yourself. Now that we're ready, let's move on and listen to an actual talk.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Peter. What's your name?
Peter, nice to meet you. My name is Melanie.
Melanie, what a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Melanie, tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Michigan in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota.
Minnesota, great.
Right.
I've never been to Minnesota, I have to admit, though.
I don't think I've been in Michigan either.
Oh.
Maybe we can visit someday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not too far away from
Yeah.
each other.
Can I ask you a rather Korean question?
Maybe.
How old are you?
I'm in my early 30s.
Oh, really? Okay. You look so much younger than that.
Thank you. How about you?
I'm in complete denial about my age.
Uh-oh.
So let's just say I'm Peter Pan and I'm 102.
Okay, we'll go with that today.
Okay.
So, Peter, did you go to university in Minnesota or did you go somewhere else?
Yes. Well, I started at a different university and then I finished at the University of Minnesota.
Oh, very nice.
Where did you study?
I also went to an M university. I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you study?
I started off as a dance major, but then I decided to switch majors and do communication studies.
And that's why you're so good at communicating.
Exactly.
Well, I studied, I started with science and then I switched to English literature and early European history.
Very interesting. So, which one of those majors reflects what you do now in your job? Any of them, or?
Oh, well, actually, I'm a writer now.
Oh.
I'm kind of a poet at heart, but
Okay.
I write books and also advertising for big Korean companies.
Very nice.
And what about you?
I'm a news anchor.
Really?
On television, yes.
Oh, wait, I'm excited to see you. When can I see you?
You can see me in the morning, right before noon, and then also later in the evening, early evening time, Mondays through Fridays.
Okay, and what do you talk about on the news?
I mostly talk about different things happening in Korea, but also worldwide news, but it's all in English, so...
well, that sounds like fun. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Can I ask, are you married?
I am married. I'm happily married. Yeah. I've been married for about 3.5 years now.
Okay.
So, got married in the U.S. and moved to Korea with my husband.
I see.
So.
Well, I met my lovely wife in Korea.
Really?
And, we got married and we just had 2 lovely babies.
Really?
We had twin boys.
Oh, you're so lucky. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And twin boys,
Yeah.
do they look alike or different?
They're different.
Okay.
Anyway, so do you like coffee?
I do like coffee.
Well, let's go get a coffee sometime.
That would be great.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Peter.
Nice to meet you too.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you enjoy the talk? That was a very actual talk, live talk between Peter and Melanie. But did you think it was a bit too easy for you? I agree with you. Self-introduction conversations can be very simple, using very simple expressions. But as we move on to lessons 2, 3, 4, 5, and on and on and on, the topics will become a little more difficult, so we'll learn more difficult expressions, all right? Let's think of today's lesson as kind of a warm-up as well. Now, what did they talk about? The 2 began their conversation by introducing themselves. Peter said, "My name is Peter. What's your name?" And Melanie said, "Nice to meet you. My name is Melanie." And then they moved on. Now, when it comes to introducing yourself by mentioning your name, there are many, many expressions you can use. The very simple ones, such as, "I'm Sujin," "I'm Devin," but you can say, "My friends call me so-and-so" as well. For example, my mother's name is Kyungja, and she goes by KJ. K for Kyung and J for Ta. So she tells people in a casual conversation, "My friends call me KJ. My friends call me KJ." That's what you can perhaps say as well. What else? You can ask someone to please call me Sue. As for Sujin, if you have a long name and you prefer to be called a shorter name or a different name, you can say, please call me Sue. What about for Devin? Devin might say, please call me Dev. Okay? Try to make use of these expressions in a rather casual conversation. What else can you say? For example, my name is Jennifer, but I go by Jen. I like to be called Jen, so I tell my close friends that I feel comfortable with, you guys can call me Jen. I go by Jen, not Jennifer. As for Robert, Robert is a nice name, but some Roberts don't like their names. They say, well, my name is Robert, but I go by Joe. Okay? So just keep these expressions in mind and make use of it sometime in the future. Let's move on with the conversation. Now, Peter asks Melanie where she's from. He says, Melanie, where are you from? What did Melanie say? She said that she was from Michigan in the US, and Peter said that he was from Minnesota. And they have not been to each of the other parts either. So Peter's never been to Michigan, and Melanie's never been to Minnesota. All right, let's check out some expressions you can use talking about where you are from. All right, here we go. Now, the very simple ones, once again, I'm from so-and-so. I'm from Seoul, Korea. 쉽죠? It's very easy. Moving on to this, I'm from Jeonju. I'm from Jeonju. What about this one? I grew up, or I was raised in a city or a country. Meaning, you were raised, you grew up as a child in that area. Let's say, for example, you were born in the US, but your family moved to Seoul when you were 2 years old, and you were raised in Seoul until you were 10 years old, or even perhaps until you were 20 years old. You grew up. 그곳에서 자랐다, 컸다라고 할 때 I grew up 혹은 I was raised in 어디 하시면 돼요. And what about this one? I'm originally from the US, but I've lived in Seoul 언제부터요? Since 2007 or since I was 21. So you can mention where you were born, meaning I'm originally from the US, but I've lived in Seoul for a long time. 언제부터요? Since 2007 or since a certain age. Moving on to this one, very similar to this one, but it is, I was born in Seoul, but Busan feels like home to me. Now, this is a very good expression you can use in many different situations. Perhaps you were born somewhere, but you like a different place better. You feel more comfortable about it. Then you can say, I was born in Seoul. 서울에서 태어났지만 저에게는 부산이 집입니다. 저에게는 부산이 집입니다. 그만큼 부산이 좋다, 편하다라는 말 되겠죠? But Busan feels like home to me. All right. Now let's move on and listen to the conversation between the two once again. Now Peter asks Melanie about her age, but what did he say? He began by saying, Can I ask you a rather Korean question? And then he said, how old are you? Now people often say it is not polite or it's a don't to ask someone's age, their marital status, perhaps their salary, questions like these because they're very personal questions, but this is a casual conversation, so why not? So, once again, Peter says, can I ask you a rather Korean question? And then Melanie says, sure, and she says that she is in her early 30s. Now, what about Peter? How old did Peter say he was? Well, he said he was 102 years old. I don't think so. Now, he said, I'm in complete denial about my age. What does that mean? He just doesn't want to believe the truth. He doesn't want to think about his age. So he says, I am in denial about something, meaning I don't want to believe in it. And he didn't mention his age, but he kind of jokingly, with humor, said, I'm Peter Pan and I'm 102. Okay? Now, so when it comes to talking about your age, which expressions can you use? Let's take a look. All right, you can say, I just turned a certain age. Okay, this is a pretty simple expression. Let's move on to this one. I'm turning 35 and it's fantastic. 주로 이런 표현 같은 경우에는요, 나이가 어느 정도 있을 때 35이지만 정말 좋아요. 멋지죠? 참 좋습니다. You're happy about your age. It's not like you're crying over wanting to be younger. You're proud and happy to be 35. You're happy to be 42. You're happy to be 50 years old. So in that case, you can say, I'm turning age, and it's fantastic. It's wonderful. I love it. I'm enjoying life. Moving on to this one. Very simple as well, but just as a review, you can say, I'm in my early 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, or perhaps 30s and 40s. Okay? Now, early is in the beginning. 자, 20대 초반이 되겠죠? Mid, 20대 중반, 그리고 late 30s라고 하면은 자, 30대 후반대가 되겠죠. So keep these expressions in mind as well. What about this one? If you don't mind, I prefer not to say. So this is kind of similar to what Peter said in the conversation. What did he say? I'm in complete denial about my age라고 했잖아요. 그리고 자기 나이를 얘기를 하지 않았어요. So if you don't want to mention your age, you can say, if you don't mind, if it's okay, I prefer not to say, meaning I'd rather not tell you. What about this one? I'm over 50, but I still feel young at heart. 마음만은 청춘이다 라는 말인데요. Feel young at heart. Try to use this, especially if you are at a certain age, rather older age. So you can say, I'm over 50. 나이는 지금 시운이 넘었지만 마음만큼은 청춘입니다. 이 표현 한번 써보시는 건 어떨까요? Moving on to this one. You know, I've lost track of my age. Lose track. Lose track of time. Lose track of names. Lose track of your age, meaning you forgot. You don't remember. So this is also a way of saying, I don't want to tell you my age. I've lost track. 나이가 생각이 안 나요 하고 자연스럽게 넘길 수 있겠죠? All right then everyone, let's continue on with the conversation. Now, what did Melanie say? Melanie said, did you go to university in Minnesota? Because Peter was from where? Minnesota. Or did you go somewhere else? 자, 피터가 어디에서 대학을 나왔다고 그랬었죠? He said he started off at a different university and I finished at the University of Michigan. Okay? 자, 다른 대학에서 시작을 했다가 졸업은, that's right, 어디에서 했다고요? University of Michigan. 자, 멜로니 같은 경우는요, she also went to an M University. 자, M University라는 곳이 있는 게 아니라, 자, M, 미네소타도 M으로 시작하죠. 미시간도 M으로 시작을 하기 때문에 약간 재밌게 이야기를 한 거예요. 나도 M으로 시작하는 대학 나왔는데 라는 말이죠. I also went to an M university. And she says, I went to the University of Michigan. Okay? And they talk about what they majored in, what they studied, their field of study. Now, Melanie said she started off as a dance major. Start off는 시작을 하다라는 말이죠. So, first of all, in the beginning, she went to college as a dance major. 무용 전공을 했네요. But then, she decided to switch majors. Change majors가 되겠죠. 전공을 바꿨다라고 이야기를 했습니다. And also for Peter. Peter도 마찬가지라고 했었죠. He started with science and then switched to English literature. Now let's check out some more expressions you can use when talking about your field of study, what you studied, perhaps your major in university. All right, here we go. My major was, 간단한 표현이죠. Psychology 할 수 있겠고요. Blank was my major. 쉬운 표현이죠. 다들 알고 계실 거예요. So, my major was 전공. 전공 was my major. 자, 이 경우는 이미 졸업을 한 상태죠. was로 표현을 해준 거니까요. If you are studying right now, you can say, my major is. And my major, blank, is my major, okay? International relations is my major. What about this one? I focused my studies in, or I focused my studies, my major in blank. Let's take a look at this. I focused my studies in linguistics, or my major in linguistics. Now mention your major in that blank. And I started with dialogue 나왔던 문장이죠. Okay, 비슷한 패턴인데요. 무엇으로 시작을 해서 다른 전공으로 바꿨다라고 하실 때 하면 돼요. I started with psychology but finished with music. 자, 음악 전공을 해서 졸업을 했다. 음악 전공을 하면서 졸업을 했다라는 말 되겠죠. Alright, and then let's go back to the conversation then. What else did they talk about? They talked about which one of those majors reflects, 반사라고 하나요? reflects what you do now in your job. 자, 영향을 미치다라는 뜻이 됩니다. 여기서는요, reflects는. So, Peter says, I'm a writer now. He writes books, poems, whatever it is. And he said, I'm kind of a poet at heart. I'm a blank at heart. It means that you really, really like something. You love it. So he says, I'm a poet at heart, kind of a poet at heart, meaning I really, really love poetry. I love to write poetry. I love poems, but I write books. And he asks Melanie what she does, and what did she say she did? That's right. She's an anchor on television, and she does news. Let's now take a look at some expressions you can use when talking about what you do for a living. Here we go. I work for certain company, ANC Limited. I work for company 말해주면 되겠죠? 자, 어디에서 근무를 합니다. 어디에서 일을 합니다. 어떤 회사에서 일합니다. 굉장히 좀 쉬운 표현들이에요. 혹은 I'm a project manager. 어디에서요? At GD Corporation. 자, 어떤 일을 하는지 직책을 말하고요. 그 다음에 어디, 회사 이름을 말해주면 되겠죠? 다들 아시는 패턴이죠? Let's move on to this one. I've always wanted to become an insurance sales agent. I've always wanted to become 뭐가 되고 싶었다. 예전부터 항상 그런 꿈을 가지고 있었다란 말이죠. Remember this pattern? I've always wanted to become a blank 해주시고요. I've been preparing to work in the blank industry. This is also a good one, especially when you are doing an interview and perhaps the interviewer asks you, well, what do you plan to do in the future? What kind of job do you want? What kinds of things are you interested in? You can say, I've been preparing to work in the advertising industry. If it's an advertising company, this sentence means that you've been preparing a lot, studying very, very hard to become an advertising or an advertiser in an advertising industry or company, okay? Now let's move on and find out what else you can say. The first one is, what is a typical day in your work life like? And the second one is, of course, what's the most interesting part of your job? Now, these questions are wonderful questions you can use in a conversation. These questions are the same as, what's your job? 어떤 일 하세요? 라는 질문과 똑같습니다. 살짝 돌려서 물어보는 질문이 되겠죠? Let's take a look at the first one. Now, what is a typical day in your work life like? So you're talking about this person's work life. 자, 직장 생활에 대한 질문을 하는 거니까 어떤 일 하십니까? 라는 질문 되겠죠? 자, 그리고 여기도 마찬가지로요. What's the most interesting part of your job? You're not asking what's your job, but you're asking what's so interesting about your job. 자, 일하는 데 있어서 뭐가 그렇게 흥미로웁니까? 라고 물었을 때 제가 하는 일은 이렇게 이래서 설명을 하다 보면은 제가 하는 일은 이거입니다. You'll find out about what that person does. He or she will eventually tell you about his or her job, all right? So make use of these two questions sometime in the future in a conversation. Now that we've covered expressions you can use when talking about jobs, let's continue on and figure out what these two talked about. Peter and Melanie talked about what? Their marital status, whether they were married or not. 둘 다 결혼을 했다라고 했었죠. Now, Melanie said that she's happily married. She's very happy in her marriage. It's been about 3.5 years. And as for Peter, he's also married. He got married where? Well, he said he met his wonderful wife in Korea, and they're married with 2 lovely boys. They're twins, and that's what they talked about. Let's move on and check out some expressions you can use when talking about whether you're married or not, or seeking. All right, the first one is, I'm happily married, just as Melanie said, or single, divorced, separated. 자, divorced와 separated 같은 거예요, okay? But divorced는 왠지 좀 강하게 느껴지기 때문에 people prefer to say separated, okay? You can say I'm divorced or separated, but make it sound okay by adding the word happy, okay? I'm happily single. I'm happily separated, meaning you're fine with it, okay? What about this one? You can talk about your daughter if you have a daughter. My daughter is 13 years old and in grade school. elementary school이 되겠죠? What about this one? I'm single and ready to settle down. Now, settle down basically means to get married, okay? So if you're single, meaning you're not married, you can say, I'm single and I want to get married now. You can say, I'm ready to settle down, okay? I want to get married now 대신에 이 표현 꼭 한번 써보세요. 결혼할 준비가 되었다 라는 말, I'm ready to settle down. What about this one? I'm single and plan to stay single. 자, 싱글이에요. 그러고요, 결혼할 생각이 없습니다 라는 말을 I don't want to get married가 아니라 I plan to stay single. 이대로가 좋습니다. 계속해서 결혼 안 하고 혼자 살 거예요 라는 말 되겠죠. Okay, one more time. I'm single and plan to stay single. I don't. Now, what about the last one? For now, there's nobody. 지금 현재는 아무도 없지만, 아무도 만나는 사람이 없지만, but I plan to get married. But, well, I'm married to my career. So once again, for now, there's nobody to get married to. 지금 현재는 뭐 결혼할 사람이 없어요. But you're married to your career. 그만큼 일에 푹 빠져 있다. 뭐 일하고 결혼했다라는 이야기를 하잖아요. You love your job, so you're not interested in getting married as of now. So when you want to talk about how important your career is, how important your job is, you can say, for now there's nobody to get married to, but right now I'm married to my job. All right? Okay, everyone, let's move on to the very final part of the conversation. They pretty much say, well, do you like coffee? Yeah, nice meeting you. Well, yeah, see you, bye 하면서 인사를 했죠. Wow, that was a long dialogue, a very, very, very lively conversation between Peter and Melanie. Now that we've taken a look at many, many expressions and gone over the dialogue, let's take a listen to it one more time.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Peter. What's your name?
Peter, nice to meet you. My name is Melanie.
Melanie, what a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Melanie, tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Michigan in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota.
Minnesota, great.
Right.
I've never been to Minnesota, I have to admit, though.
I don't think I've been in Michigan either.
Oh.
Maybe we can visit someday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not too far away from
Yeah.
each other.
Can I ask you a rather Korean question?
Maybe.
How old are you?
I'm in my early 30s.
Oh, really? Okay. You look so much younger than that.
Thank you. How about you?
I'm in complete denial about my age.
Uh-oh.
So let's just say I'm Peter Pan and I'm 102.
Okay, we'll go with that today.
Okay.
So, Peter, did you go to university in Minnesota or did you go somewhere else?
Yes. Well, I started at a different university and then I finished at the University of Minnesota.
Oh, very nice.
Where did you study?
I also went to an M university. I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you study?
I started off as a dance major, but then I decided to switch majors and do communication studies.
And that's why you're so good at communicating.
Exactly.
Well, I studied, I started with science and then I switched to English literature and early European history.
Very interesting. So, which one of those majors reflects what you do now in your job? Any of them or?
Oh, well, actually, I'm a writer now.
Oh.
I'm kind of a poet at heart, but
Okay.
I write books and also advertising for big Korean companies.
Very nice.
And what about you?
I'm a news anchor.
Really?
On television, yes.
Oh, wait, I'm excited to see you. When can I see you?
You can see me in the morning, right before noon, and then also later in the evening, early evening time, Mondays through Fridays.
Okay, and what do you talk about on the news?
I mostly talk about different things happening in Korea, but also worldwide news, but it's all in English, so...
well, that sounds like fun. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Can I ask, are you married?
I am married. I'm happily married. Yeah. I've been married for about 3.5 years now.
Okay.
So, got married in the U.S. and moved to Korea with my husband.
I see.
So.
Well, I met my lovely wife in Korea.
Really?
And, we got married and we just had 2 lovely babies.
Really?
We had twin boys.
Oh, you're so lucky. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And twin boys,
Yeah.
do they look alike or different?
They're different.
Okay.
Anyway, so do you like coffee?
I do like coffee.
Well, let's go get a coffee sometime.
That would be great.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Peter.
Nice to meet you too.
Now it's time for a wonderful idiom for the day, everyone. We're going to learn one idiom per lesson. And the importance of idioms is that, of course, we learn vocabulary words. Why? In order to speak better English, right? But then again, how much do we focus on idioms? In casual or very natural speaking in English, we use a lot of idioms. So make use of them, learn them, and use them in your interviews or conversations. Anywhere, anytime. Let's begin with today's idiom. It is finish off. Think about what it means. Finish off. 자, finish와 off가 함께 쓰였을 때 어떤 뜻이 될까요? 예문 하나 드릴게요. As soon as he finished one book off, he'd start another. One more time. As soon as he'd finished one book off, he'd start another. The definition of finish off is to complete something in order to bring it to an end. 완전히 무언가를 끝내다라는 뜻입니다. 예문이요. 그래서 after he finished one book off, he started another. 책을 한 권 다 읽은 다음에 다 끝낸 후에 다른 책을, 새 책을 읽었다라는 말 되겠죠? 자, finish off 기억해 두시고요. Alright, let's move on to the next. Now this segment is another very special segment prepared by us and someone else, giving us an actual interview. A tip though, everyone, hiring managers or interviewers are often interested in how you answer and not what you answer. Do you see what I mean? 어떤 내용인지보다는 이 사람이 얼마나 인터뷰를 잘하는지에 대한 관심이 더 많다는 거 항상 기억을 해두시기 바랍니다. So, if you're flummoxed by a question, surprised, don't worry. Relax, calm down, keep your cool, smile, and look them in the eye. So use some hand gestures, all right? Okay, with that in mind, here is today's actual interview.
Tell us about yourself in as much detail as possible.
Hello, my name is Kim Jina. I'm 26 years old and I'm studying English to become an interpreter in the future. I worked as a sales representative at a domestic mobile carrier. I graduated the Seongkyungan University studying economics. I tried hard to become an economist in the past, but I didn't make it. And I realized that I don't like the economists at all. And then I decided to become an interpreter after working. Studying English is very hard, but very interesting to me. And it is really challenging. As an interpreter, I want to start my career in a company.
Job well done. Thank you so much for the interview. Okay, but we're going to take a look at exactly what she told us as she was telling us about herself. The question was, tell us about yourself in as much detail as possible. You heard the word detail, meaning give me details about yourself. Let's take a look at how well she did. Well, I thought it was wonderful how she said, I'm studying English to become an interpreter in the future. This is wonderfully structured, okay? She's telling us about what she is doing, studying. Why? Well, in order to become an interpreter in the future, all right? So she wants to become what? An interpreter. Another great answer was, studying English is very hard. It's very hard, kind of negative, but very interesting to me. But it's fun, okay? It's really challenging. So it's always good to be optimistic. Talk about the good things than the bad things in an interview. Be positive and not negative. But this is very good because she started by saying, English is very hard. It's hard, but 올라갔죠? Positive, but very interesting to me. It's really challenging. Job well done. Let's take a look at some common mistakes people make, especially something like this. I graduated the 성균관 University studying economics. 이런 방식으로 표현하시는 분들 많으세요. Especially the first part. I graduated 어디 university 할 때요. the를 꼭 넣으시더라고요. The should not be there, okay? I graduated 성균관 University and studying English. 지금 계속 진행이 되는 게 아니죠? So we should change it to this one. I graduated 성균관 University and studied economics because you already graduated. You studied in the past. All right? So one more time. I graduated 성균관 University and studied economics. All right? Let's take a look at another one. As an interpreter, I want to start my career in a company. 어디가 어색한가요? Up until here, it's fine. I found a problem right here. In a company, okay? We've got in. Now, you often work at a company, not necessarily in a company. So, you should correct it by saying, as an interpreter, I want to start my career at a company, or even the name of the company, at TLR. Or, what about this one? As an interpreter, I want to start my career in interpreting. 자, 어떤 일을 하고 싶다라고 할 때는 in 넣어도 돼요. So here we're talking about the kind of job you want to have, the kind of thing you want to do, the work you want to do. Then it's in interpreting, in designing, in teaching. But where? It's always at. All right? Okay, well, I do want to say wonderful job. Thank you so much for the interview. And we're going to actually take you to our very last segment. It is time for Wrap Up, everyone. Well, time flew by very quickly, didn't it? I hope you had fun today with me right here on Jennifer's Actual Speaking. Here is a quick tip, though, before we say goodbye. Now, in a job interview, if the interviewer asks you, tell me about yourself, a big do is tell the interviewer about what you can do for the company, what you are capable of doing for the company. So in other words, focus on the job. A big no-no, a big don't is don't tell your life story. He or she will not be interested in learning about you because they're not going to write a book on you, all right? So a big do is focus on the company. A big don't, a big no-no is don't talk about yourself too much, all right? Okay, everyone, I'm going to be joining you again next time with another interesting, rather simple, easy topic. We'll be talking about your best friend. Let me think about my best friend. I really wish her. So think about what you can possibly say about your best friend next time. That is to come very soon, everyone. Practice more on your own, everything we learned today, and keep in mind, our lessons will get difficult and difficult. Please join us for another one. Until then, take care and bye for now.
Oh